So I wanted to address training for different people. Everybody needs different things. If you're trying to get stronger, a big thing that you'll do is a lot of people will go to a coach, and your coach will basically give you a cookie cutter program. That's what I'm going to call it. And I've experienced it myself. I was actually part of a team, and I'm not bashing them specifically. I think that they actually helped my motor patterns because of the volume that he was making me do. But everybody on the team was doing the same thing. And I don't think that's the way to go for anybody. I'll never train like that again. Everybody has specific weaknesses. There's people that are, I'll just address the deadlift. There's people that are strong off the ground. And then there's people that are good, they have a good lockout. Some people have weak hip hinge. I'm actually one of those people, and it probably has a lot to do with I have short femurs, a long torso, so I pull a lot with like my mid back. Like when I go to break, I have a little bit of a bridge in my back. I try to keep my spine pretty neutral at the bottom. Like the first half of my spine is pretty neutral. I have a lot of muscle built up in the middle of my back that it kind of allows me to get away with it without injury. You've seen if you've seen some of my lifts, you would think, oh man, that don't look good, but I don't ever hurt. I got friends that are the same age as me. I'm in my mid 30s. I don't have any back problems. I also work labor. I'm part of the local 47. I'm an insulator. I'm on my feet all day at work. Some weeks I'm working 70 hours a week and going to the gym. So I don't have back problems. I also go to a chiropractor quite frequently to keep me in line. And I think all that kind of has a factor in why I'm still got a very healthy back. I do a lot of I try to roll out my thoracic spine every time I do squats and deadlifts and bench, just to make sure everything's pretty limber and moving well, because you're going to compress your vertebrae. But basically the problem I think with that cookie cutter program thing is that if you're not addressing weaknesses, you're basically going to keep getting stronger in the area you're already stronger in, and you're not going to get better where you're weak. There needs to be specific training. So there's bands, chains. You can use different movements. Like if you have a weak lower back, good mornings are great. Barbell good mornings, if you do them correct. You don't have to use a lot of weight. If you're squatting 500 pounds, you probably only need 135. You do some volume with it. Like any other accessory motion, it's not a big muscle group. It's not a compound motion. It's something that's supposed to be very specific. It's an iso movement, Isolation is very important when you're working on a weak muscle group. So if you're going to get on one of these programs and you see it and it's basically just basic movements and basic things, and you see everybody else doing it, don't think that's going to work for you. So if you see the top guys doing something, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you, man. You should probably address what's wrong with you. And if you have a coach that's doing that, you might want to look for another coach, because one size fits all is bullshit. I don't know if you ever seen it in stores, they say that with clothes. Well, guess what? There's somebody out there that can't fit in that, right? So it's the same thing with your programming. Nobody should all be on the same program, and I don't believe that. I'll never believe it. I got almost 20 years in the gym. Some of you may have more, some of you may have less. Anybody that's got more probably agrees with me. Anybody that's selling that has more probably knows that that's true too. So I don't know what anybody else take it on this. If you want to argue with me, that's cool. But I just want to put it out there. I really believe people should address their weaknesses. As a bodybuilder, you got to address your weaknesses specifically, and that's how all sports really should be. If you're a football player, your weaknesses are addressed in college. You're a wrestler, if you're falling to a certain move, they're going to teach you how to get away from it constantly. I just don't know any sport other than this sport where people are doing cookie cutter programming. I just don't understand it. I don't understand when it became a fad to see one guy doing something and thinking that's what you're going to do. If I'm doing something that works for me, that does not mean it's going to work for you. You can use some of my basic principles. So let's say I was talking about sets and volume just a little bit ago, basic repetitions and stuff like that, based on what your goals are. Well, it's still not a one size fits all. Like I was talking about symmetry. So if your symmetry's off and you got to focus more on another muscle group because you're a bodybuilder, you might add in more volume for that muscle group and less volume for the muscle group that's overdeveloped. There's guys with really big legs in bodybuilding. I've known a few, and their legs are so big that they make their upper body look small. So what do? The emphasis on 2 or 3 upper body days a week and 1 lower body day a week. They're not on a cookie cutter program. You need to think about that, and that's just my take on it. Thank you.